practice time. I call it practice time because I would like each and every one of you to treat this not as a regular YouTube video, but as an actual conversation between you and me. All right, and hopefully, because of that, your score will go up. Okay, much better than your last one if you've taken the IELTS test before. I always tell my students that if you just read books, if you just read prepared answers, then you're actually not improving your speaking score. You're improving your reading skills. If you just listen to a YouTube video or watch it, you're actually developing only your listening skills. And if you just write down your answers on a piece of paper or on your laptop or on your devices, then you're just writing. You want to learn how to speak, then you actually have to speak. So I prepared a complete test for you. It has all the parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. So how do we go about it? First, I will just ask you the questions. After each question, I will pause to give you enough time to think of your answers and deliver them. Okay? So I want you to imagine that you're actually doing the interview already. All right? And then don't worry, because after we're done with all of the questions, then in the second half of the video, I'll be giving you some sample answers, and hopefully, you can use them to create your own answers. Or maybe if you like my answers already, you can use them as is. If you like, of course, it all depends on you. So let's get started. First, part 1. My advice is always extend your answers. Secondly, try to speak as clearly and naturally as possible. And of course, avoid copying the examiner's words so that you'll get a higher score in lexical resource or vocabulary. All right? If you have any questions, then you can always type them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer you. All right, so let's get started. First question. Can you please tell me your name? Okay. Next. How did your parents choose your name? Does your name have any special meaning? Is your name common or is it unusual in your country? If you could change your name, would you? Okay, thank you very much. We will now move on to the second portion of the interview. Okay, guys, for this second portion, I would like you to get a piece of paper and your pencil so that you can make your notes. Remember the format, all right? They will give you 1 minute to prepare your answer and to make notes on a sheet of paper, and that's already provided for you. No need to bring anything. Just bring your ID during the test, okay? And after 1 minute, they will probably take away the question, and then you will have to rely on your notes. The examiner will stay silent for 2 minutes. Okay, so don't worry about the timing. I'll take care of that for you. You'll know that the 2 minutes are up when I start speaking. Some tips. Make sure that you make good notes, tell a good story, and then when you're speaking, there's no need to hurry, just deliver it naturally. And of course, don't be afraid of pauses because pauses are natural. So let me read the question now. Describe a TV documentary that you watched that was particularly interesting. You should say what the documentary was about, why you decided to watch it, what you learned during the documentary, and explain why the TV documentary was particularly interesting. So you now have 1 minute to make your notes. Okay, that's 1 minute. Are you ready? You now have 2 minutes to speak. And that's 2 minutes. So how did you do? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that one. A few tips for part 3 before we start. Again, you need to extend your answers. Actually, in part 3, the examiners will expect longer answers compared to part 1, okay? Because the questions for part 3 will be a little bit more complex, okay? Also, try to speak as clearly and naturally as you can. And again, try to avoid copying the examiner's words. Here we go. Here is your first question. So, what are the most popular kinds of TV programs in your country? Is watching television good or bad? Do you think TV is the main way for people to get the news in your country? And what other ways are there to get the news? Congratulations! You just finished a whole IELTS interview. Now I'm gonna help you out and try to give you some model answers, okay? So that if you don't have ideas, then yeah, this portion of the video will solve it. To help you better, I'm gonna try to use two voices, okay? I'm gonna use a deeper voice for the examiner, and then I'm gonna try to use my natural voice for the model answers, all right? So let's go back to part one. The first question is always, what's your name? Or the examiner might instruct you to please tell me your name. No problem, sir. My name is Alan Smith. Okay, thank you very much. So how did your parents choose your name? Oh, it's actually a funny question because I haven't had the chance. I haven't been interested to ask my parents about that. Yeah, I should be more curious, right? Okay, because it's my name. So here's what I'm gonna do. After this interview, when I get home, I'm gonna ask both of them, and I think it's gonna be fun. Oh, no problem. Yeah, sure. So, does your name have any special meaning? You know what? I actually researched, okay, about the meaning of my name. I think when I was in college, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm so happy that the meanings are quite nice. Okay, so my name is Alan, and it has a lot of meanings. It's close to Allah, okay, which means that's their God in the Muslim faith. But it also means cheerful, and also my favorite meaning is handsome in other languages. So yeah, it's godly, cheerful, and handsome. I think it fits my personality very nicely. Okay, Alan. Is your name common or is it unusual in your country? Well, I think yes, it's quite common because I know a lot of other people named Alan. In fact, I think every year I was in elementary school or in high school, I had at least one classmate who had the same name. Okay, thank you. If you could change your name, would you? I think I'll keep my name, because I've been using it for all my life for a very long time. If I change it now, it will just cause confusion. Also, I would like to honor my father and my mother. They decided to give this to me, and if that's what they want to name me, I don't think I have the right to just suddenly change my name, right? So, out of respect to my parents, I will not change it. All right, so we will now move on to the second portion of the test. So you will be given 1 minute to think about your answer, to make notes, and afterwards, I will just listen to you for 2 minutes. Okay, watchers, subscribers. Okay, for this part, I made the question a little bit smaller so that I have some white space at the middle. So why did I do this? Because I want to show you first, okay, some notes that I want to make. So remember, they will give you scratch paper, okay, and a pencil. It's gonna be there for you. No need to bring it. And many candidates could get a better score if only they practice making notes. Okay, so my favorite technique is this one, the cross method. Or some people, they just prefer to write like 4 boxes. Okay, so let me just erase this. I think I have a better way to write this. Okay, something that fits the space better. So I'm gonna make 4 boxes here, okay, because there are 4 questions. The first question is what the documentary was about. Of course, before saying that, I need to say the title. So the title is actually in Filipino, okay, but I'm gonna translate it to English, of course, because this is an English test. Okay, so what was the documentary about? It was about ML. Don't worry if you don't know it, because these are my notes. As long as I understand them, then it's okay. and you're gonna hear it later. Okay, why you decided to watch it? Well, because it was, well, I had nothing to do. It was a lazy weekend. So I'm just gonna write lazy weekend right over there. Okay. Next, what you learned. Okay, that should have an ed. Sorry about that. I'm in a hurry to upload this video. My students are taking the test tomorrow. Okay, what you learned during the documentary. So maybe I'm gonna say lessons. Okay, or info, because if I see this, I'm gonna get reminded of what I'm supposed to say. Next, explain why the TV documentary was particularly interesting. So I'm just gonna write int here, because if I see this, I'm gonna know, talk about something interesting. So I already made notes for all of these. Now, is it possible to add a few things here? Yes, because these are just guide questions. If you just rely on them, you might not reach 2 minutes. Also, your story would be much better if you add more information, right? So the basic questions are 5WH. What, where, when, why, who, and how. You can add any of these questions, any of these any of this information into your answer. Right? Maybe you can add to your story who watched it with you. Was there anybody else? What time did you watch it? In fact, I'm gonna write them here. Okay, I watch it with fam. We watch it, I think, after lunch. So in the afternoon, I'm just gonna write PM here. Okay, you might even add how long was the film. Okay, so it wasn't that long. I think it was just about an hour, 1 hour. Which channel did you see it in? So one of the most popular channels in my in my country is channel 2, although I think it's now defunct. Okay, it's been closed down. And that's it. That's probably everything that I can write in a minute. Okay, so now just let me get my timer. I'm gonna try to model an answer for you. Of course, you don't need to use this. You can do a little bit of research and watch other documentaries. But if you want to use this, then you are more than welcome. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the title of this TV documentary is Batas Militar. So these are two Filipino words. Batas means law and militar means the military. But if you translate it to English, it's actually martial law. So obviously, this this TV documentary was all about the martial law that happened in the Philippines under the dictatorship of former President Ferdinand Marcos. I think I was with I'm sure I was with some family members when we watched this, although I'm not sure if everybody was there. But I think my grandmother was there, and then both my parents, and then there were some other people, but I don't clearly remember because I was very young when I watched this. This was probably in 1990 or 1991, if I'm correct. And we watched it in the afternoon, just after lunch. Okay, it's not very long. Okay, I think it's only about an hour or maybe an hour and a half at most. Okay, and I watched it because it was a lazy weekend. We had nothing to do. We didn't have the internet then, so we just watched television all the time. And our favorite channel was Channel 2, ABS CBN. Now, there were a lot of things that I learned from watching that. I learned about the killings and the murder, okay, and all the money that was stolen by the government officials. Man, it was horrible, but I think everybody needs to watch it just to be reminded of what really happened. Okay, it was interesting because some of my family members were actual victims of martial law. I'm sad to say that. In fact, my grandmother did not finish watching because she decided to walk out. She couldn't bear the memories that were. Oh, I stopped there. Why? Because it's already 2 minutes. I had more to say, But the examiner will not let you go over 2 minutes because they're also under time pressure. All right? So is that good or bad? Well, in general, that's not a problem if you don't finish. Why? Because you actually don't need to finish it. You just need to show, you just need to demonstrate to the examiner that you have the capability to do this. Okay? So don't worry. Just keep on talking. Just keep on telling a good story. So let's move on. Let's just remove that one. So part 3 now. So the first question was, okay, what are the most popular kinds of TV programs in your country? Oh, I can think of 3. Okay, and these are number 1, the news. Okay, all of the major channels and even the smaller channels have news. They have the morning news, lunchtime news, afternoon news, and the evening news because everybody wants to know what's happening. Okay, I want to mention some titles. Excuse me, but most of the titles are in Filipino, so I would just avoid saying that. Okay, but my favorite is it's called TV Patrol. Okay, and it's hosted by the former Vice President of the Philippines, Noli de Castro. The second kind of popular programs would be, we call them teleserye here in my country. Okay, but if you translate it to English, maybe we can call them soap operas. Okay, we love soap operas. We love Filipino soap operas, but a few years ago, everybody was crazy about the soap operas from Mexico, Spanish soap operas. And of course, we nowadays we are watching a lot of Korean dramas, Korean soap opera. So that's the second one. And last but not the least, we love variety shows. Okay, and there are a lot of these. The most famous one is called Eat Bulaga. Bulaga means surprise in English. Uh, we also have these various lunchtime shows over the years. Okay, do you think watching TV is good or bad? Oh, well, it depends. It depends on what you watch, and it also depends on how long you watch, and if you easily believe whatever you're watching. If you watch good things, and if you watch informative things, if you watch the news, okay, nature programs, and things that will enrich your mind, then of course it's good. Okay. However, if you watch garbage, like sorry to say this, TV dramas, for example. Okay, if you watch gossip shows, showbiz shows about show business, then I think it's just gonna be a waste of time. So just like most things, television is a tool, and tools are not good or evil. It depends on how the person uses them. Okay, thank you very much. Do you think that television is the main way for people to get the news in your country? Let me see. Yeah, I think it's probably number 1 or maybe number 2. I'm not really sure, but it's one of the top ways to get the news here in the Philippines. Okay, because TV sets are everywhere. Okay. However, I think cell phones are catching up now. Personally, I haven't watched television in a long time. So I'm not sure if it's number 1, but it's up there in the top 2. All right. What other ways are there? There are many ways to get news. Okay. Of course, you have newspapers, which are less popular nowadays. Very few people buy them. I think only older people do that now. You can also listen to the radio. Okay, but again, it's not that popular anymore because of television. TV sets are now cheap, they're easy to acquire, and they're everywhere. However, I think in a few years, the number 1 source would be cell phones or maybe laptops or tablet. In general, mobile devices because everybody has one. They're easy to carry. Okay, and most people bring them everywhere with them, even in the toilet, even to their beds. Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of the interview. I hope that you learned something. So thank you very much. Good job. And remember, practice makes perfect. When we say practice, specifically speaking practice, you have to speak. Okay, reading is not enough. Listening is not enough. writing is not enough if you want to improve your speaking skills. Remember, sharing is caring. If you think that you have friends or family members who would benefit from these types of videos, because I'm planning to make more and more. In fact, I'm gonna upload one of these videos every week, so that you'll have some regularity, so that you will have some regular practice. And finally, if you want to help me out, okay, please subscribe for more great IELTS content, and see you next time. Thank you very much.